Welcome friends to another r/malicious compliance video. I want to give you guys a quick reminder that I'm giving away a $20 Amazon gift card. If you're interested in a chance to win, all you have to do is leave as many comments as you'd like on any video I upload this week on both this channel and my second channel, Storytime. At the end of the week, I'll draw a random comment from either channel. So I look forward to seeing your guys' comments, as it's literally always a joy to see everyone enjoying themselves, and best of luck. Our first story of the day is by Moonart Inc. I don't get to keep my tips? Fine, but you won't get any either. So a long time ago, I, 24-year-old female, worked as a waitress in the only bar in my town. I worked there between the ages of 16 and 17 because I was underaged and it was the only job that I could do. Where I live, you have to be 18 to handle a cash register. Now, I think this job was very much not legal. I worked at that bar for €7 per hour, which was pretty bad already, but I also was not allowed to keep my tip money. I was literally stuck because this was the only job that I could do at my age in my town, and I needed the money badly. I also worked from like 8 p.m. up to 3 a.m. in the morning. In my country, if you're underaged, you're only allowed to work until 10 p.m. There were times that I even worked from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. It was a mess. So because I was underaged, I was not allowed to handle any money. Every time a customer wanted to pay, I had to get one of the older girls. One day, there was a very nice couple and they called me to their table. They told me that I was the nicest waitress they ever had, not to brag, and asked me if I was allowed to keep my tips. In my country, we're paid hourly. I shook my head. So they told me to turn around and not look and not to tell anyone about the conversation. Kind of weird, but okay. At the end of the shift, we all had to sit around a table and my boss would count out all the money in front of us to check how much tip money we made. There wasn't any. Everyone that night had paid to the cent. There were no tips and he was furious. I loved it. He asked if I took the money and I just smirked, telling him I was not allowed to handle money. When I arrived home and checked my back pocket, I found €30 of tips from the nice couple. Best day at work ever. So if you were working a definite bad job that was taking advantage of you like this, would you be willing to attempt to try and take the tips under the table anyways? Let me know in the comments down below. This next story is by Vagrant123, Driving the QE's Insane. This is a stupid one, but here we go. I work for a company that manufactures medical products. Part of our compliance with FDA regulations involves a lot of paperwork to make sure that everything is done properly. If something isn't done within the allotted time, we have to submit an extension request, which I'll call ER from now on. Our company follows some old school practices and doesn't allow digital signatures on the paperwork. So what do we have to do? Print out a copy and sign it. But because of COVID-19, we've also been working remotely. So not only do we have to print out a copy and sign it, we then have to scan the signed copy, send it over to our manager, who then has to print a copy, sign it, and scan it. The crab cherry on top of this though is that our manager's manager must also sign. But he doesn't like printing out a doubly scanned copy because it looks like poop. So my manager has to run over her signed copy to him, about a half-mile trek around the facility, just for a piece of paper. As you might imagine, this ridiculously tedious and wasteful process has resulted in a lot of missed and delayed paperwork. Finally, one of the managers above my manager today has gotten so fed up with missing deadlines and paperwork that she's allowed my manager to scan the document and send to her. So, yay, small victories, I guess. There's a part of me that doesn't blame them for not being on the cutting edge of digital signing and PDFs and whatnot. And there's also a part of me that's like, I don't know if I would have the motivation to continue to try and fight to get a digital signature process in place. But at the same time, you just want them to kind of get along with the times. Our next story is by Ither Gaming. Threw away $3,000 worth of tile because of a temper tantrum. So my uncle is prone to fits of rage, and I came down from my normal state of living to live with him in his house, help him run his business, and get his house ready to sell, redoing floors, painting, etc. The whole shebang. Cue to his wife making it into the last guest bedroom, and her finding all of this nice tile in the closet that he had bought a couple of years ago for a planned project that he never got around to. At least $3,000 worth of tile, and very nice faucet sets, pretty much expensive stuff to remodel a bathroom and a kitchen. She started to throw a fit that they were in her way, and my uncle, who has recently had a heart attack and a pacemaker put in, really wasn't up to moving them all downstairs to somewhere and to get a nice spot for them so he could resell them later. They got in a big argument. She said he wouldn't end up selling or using any of the stuff, and he wouldn't move any of the stuff. And by the time I got back from working, she was storming out of the house because he wouldn't just throw it all away. Then he goes to me, screaming like I kicked his puppy, telling me to throw every single thing away in the closet right now. Well, I did. And there was so much nice stuff, and the tile was beautiful. I honestly felt bad taking it to the road, but after my first box, they were very heavy, so I figured, they're all garbage. He said throw it away. So instead of gently putting them down, I dropped each box, enjoying a satisfying shattering sound of hundreds of dollars of tile. It sounds very soothing to the ear, and at the same time, kind of like nails on a chalkboard. Anyways, he ended up coming out towards the end of my enjoyment and blew up. These tiles were supposed to be left intact. No one will pick up broken tiles. Well, he said throw them away by the road, never said anything about not breaking all of them. Oopsies. I gotta get my wins where I can with him, as he constantly belittles and attacks me. But he's family. Good times. Family is family, and it's great that you love them and want to support them, but at the same time, you don't deserve to be walked all over or taken advantage of or belittled and abused in some form just because they're family. I just hope the relationship for OP between their family can improve in some kind of way. This next story is by Sorkoth1. No alcohol policy plus lenient work from home policy led to interesting solutions. Roughly 2 years before the pandemic, I worked for a company with a fairly lenient alcohol policy. In fact, at some company events, even on company property, they served alcohol. It was not uncommon for executives and managers to have a drink at lunch on a Friday and finish out the day. One day, one of my employees went to lunch on his 21st birthday and had a couple of beers, and I drove him back into work to finish out his shift. He does basic computer input, has no contact with customers or operating machinery or anything dangerous. I got a note from HR that I need to give him a formal warning for what he did when they heard about it. I pointed out that there isn't a policy to enforce, and they decided to create a zero-tolerance alcohol policy based on this event. What they didn't understand was that they had 2 other policies in effect that we exploited. In order to make sure that people didn't infect the workforce, there was an infection reduction policy that allowed for people who called in sick after working part of the day to go home and get paid for the whole day. We could use this once per paycheck every 2 weeks. There was another work from home policy that allowed for employees to work from home for half a day without needing a reason. We could also use this once per paycheck every 2 weeks. After hearing about this zero-tolerance alcohol policy, I instructed all of my employees that if they were going to have a drink at lunch, they should either call in sick for the rest of the day or work from home the rest of the day. Eventually, it got to the point where we would have a drink at lunch every Friday and alternate work from home or call in sick. Drunkenness, after all, counted as a sickness to the letter of the policy. We called it Freak It Friday. The bottom line is if somebody's trying to enforce the rules, asking them to show you where in the rules that thing is not a bad idea. And being caught up on the rules yourself can lead you to discovering some kind of loophole. Leave you an ace up your sleeve. Our next story is by dward917. Sorry about your window. Last week, we got a new lawnmower, so we had to get rid of the old one. My wife was insistent that we can make a few bucks for it, so we put it on a social media marketplace. We got a bite very quickly because it was a decent model and we were only asking for 50 bucks. The prospective buyer took forever to get to our house, but I still kept my cool because the mower would be off my hands. He likes it, pays me the money, and being the nice guy I am, I offer to help him load it in his vehicle. The problem is, this guy showed up in a minivan, and the handle was sticking out of the back. This really shouldn't be too much of a problem because the handle for the mower folds. I say, "Here, let me help you fold the handle. The release is..." Stranger says, "It's okay, I got it." So I comply and stop helping at this point. Like I said earlier, my compliance isn't really malicious on my part because I figured the guy would figure it out himself. So I'm walking back in my house and suddenly I hear glass shattering. The guy shut his liftgate and the handle for the mower won the fight with his rear window. I felt bad for the guy, especially since his kid was in the car with him and possibly now an angry wife, but I didn't see her. Unfortunately, nothing more I can do at this point, so I wished him a good night. This story's giving me shades of, "I don't need the instructions, I know what I'm doing," and then you end up with a dresser with shelves upside down and the knobs on backwards. If somebody wants to help you and they're knowledgeable about what they're doing, I personally would have really appreciated that. Maybe this guy was just in a rush, I don't know. And our final story of the day is by Darth Libertus, Fast on the Gate. I was military police a while back. I was assigned to gate duty on a base that was very strict with who was allowed on. Since the base was so strict, there was little traffic coming in the base after the morning rush. The civilian that worked the gate had set up a little movie player to help pass the time. Well, I'm watching a film when I notice a van pulling up. I know it's a few guys from my company coming in on their off day to use the gym. I step outside to greet them as they pull up and do the formality of ID checks. In the back is my current sergeant. Now, I want to say that I love this guy. He was always a good leader and really cared about his soldiers. But today, he was in a mood. He leans up from the back and starts yelling at me. "You're supposed to be out here invisible from the moment we can see the gate. We should never not be able to see you. You need to be faster." I wanted to ask how that works because if I could see them, then they could see me. I would literally have to stand outside the whole time, making answering the phone impossible, but I let him yell. As he finished, I responded, "Roger." They say, "Roger what?" "Roger, Sergeant." "Do your job the right way. No slacking off." At this point, I noticed that the base pass tags for the van they were in had expired. So I turned to the young lieutenant driving and said, "Sir, your pass is expired. I can't let you on post." I instructed him that he needed to go to the visitor center with the person that signed for the van, not there at the time, and get the pass renewed. They had to find the person that signed for the van and have them come to the center so they could get a new pass. This whole thing took about an hour or so. They come back through the gate and I made sure I was outside the whole time. I asked if I was out here fast enough this time, and he mumble-shrugged at me as I let them through. I must admit, I know I personally am guilty of this from time to time, but don't you love those kinds of people that they get in a certain mood and they just need something to complain about? Literally rolling up to this place saying, "Do your job better," even though OP did nothing wrong. It's like, okay, well, if you're gonna get moody at somebody and give somebody attitude for no reason, they're probably going to get moody and try and find some way to turn it back on you. Not going to turn that blind eye you so desperately would want OP to, now that you've gone and upset them and insulted their performance of the job. But OP did clarify that they loved that guy, and I'm sure after the fact it was something they could look back on and laugh, hopefully. Overall, just kind of a good give and take exchange here. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.